Hey there, how y'all doing? This is a bit overdue. It's a lot overdue. Who am I kidding? Look at me in the light here. Still not knowing how to work my equipment, but we're getting there. What this video is going to be about today is a 3-for-1. I keep calling it a 2-for-1 in the video, but it's going to be a 3-for-1. And what's happening is got an EcoFlow River 2 Max and a Domende 54 quart car refrigerator. And also for the third part, you're going to learn how to defrost your refrigerator in your RV. So that's what's happened, and that's what I'm doing. Didn't get into super technical detail. You're gonna see how long the River 2 Max can run that 58 or 54 quart Domende car refrigerator on 12 volts. I used the 12 volts to not use the inverter for power loss reasons. And we're gonna go from there. This is that's what we tested and tried and used, and I was surprised and disappointed with the results. You'll see. So without further ado, here comes your 3-for-1 EcoFlow Domende RV fridge defrosting video. All right, how y'all doing today? This is long overdue, but what we're going to do today is it's a 2-for-1 deal. We're going to defrost this refrigerator freezer in the RV, and we're going to pack everything that's in there inside this car refrigerator freezer, and we're going to power it with the EcoFlow, and then we're going to leave it in there and see how long the EcoFlow will power this. So what we're going to be doing is, you look at that mess right there, and you probably can't see from here, but there's a thick layer of ice back there in the back. And you'll definitely be able to see it here. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? And we're going to clean up the refrigerator when we're done. First thing we're going to do is, when we kill the power, before we kill the power, we're going to check to make sure this little tray that's under this big block of ice that's on these cooling fins drains to the outside. We're going to make sure that drains clear, and so we don't lose any water here in the camper. Also, what we're going to do is, up here, you're going to have a lot of water running off. There's no place for it to run out up here. So what we're going to do, excuse my shakiness, is in our cooler here, got some towels. You can get them at Lowe's or whatever. We're going to use those to sop up the water. I'm going to bring in a 5-gallon bucket to wring them out in there to do the top half of the freezer. And also, just a tip, if you got a military supply place, a surplus place around your area, you can get things. This is all the stuff needed: power cords, manual, and everything for this little refrigerator. I paid like $2 for this little bag, used bag, and it's heavy duty and holds stuff well. So there's your pro tip. Well, I say pro tip. It's a tip. Anyway, that's going to be what we're going to do today, and we're going to get to it. And we've done the first test. There's the water running out of that tray. That's how it runs out of the outside of the camper. That's the way it works. There's a little tube up here. I would take the thing off, but it's just the tube that comes out of the bottom of that tray and dumps out right there. So as long as you got water flow right there, the ice, I've let it go so long now, it's probably overhanging the front of that tray. So I will keep some towels in there, but you want to put some water in there and see it physically draining out before you just ignore walk away from it because you'll end up with water everywhere. All right, we got our stuff out of our surplus bag. You can see that this refrigerator comes with an AC power brick, cord for the AC power brick, comes with a DC power adapter, and the DC power adapter is what we're going to use to run on the EcoFlow. Should be less loss across the not using the inverter. That's one thing I want to see, how long it will run that refrigerator. This is a River 2 Max, by the way. So we're gonna get all that hooked up, set up, and get the, probably set the refrigerator. I'll probably set this at a refrigerator temperature instead of a freezing temperature. I'll probably set it around 34 degrees. And I'll get back with you when we get that done. We have the plug plugged into the refrigerator. I didn't show doing that. But basically all the plug is plugging into the refrigerator is that for this particular Domende refrigerator. And we're going to hook it up to the River 2 Max, and we're going to see what happens. Let's see if we'll try this one-handed here. Let's cut the unit on, and you can see it's at 100%, and we're going to plug in. You have a DC power cigarette lighter adapter for us older people. I'm giving away my age. Anyway, we're going to plug it straight into the hole here and see what happens. This is Goofy doing one-handed, and I can't keep nothing in shot, so bear with me, please. Okay, we switched cameras up. Now we're going to just start emptying out this refrigerator freezer and cut it off and let it go to defrosting. So here we go. Really see the ice right here now. Trash, basically. I thought wasn't bad about throwing water bottles in the freezer. It's gonna be trash. The freezer is empty. We're gonna power off the refrigerator. And we're gonna empty the refrigerator. a lot of silence in there. I probably should have been talking the whole time, but I wasn't. And I don't know how much my big head was in the way. The refrigerator door is going to want to keep trying to shut. So we're going to figure out a way to block that up. And I'll give you the next piece of the setup here. And the things I didn't show you before were the internal temperature of this. Right now is 56 degrees. And it's getting a 12.1 volts DC from the EcoFlow. And the time is 1:11. The EcoFlow is 24, 25 watts. We shall see. Alright, what we got going on now, so everything's off, everything's out. I have several rags placed in the bottom of the refrigerator freezer, or the freezer part. A couple rags placed in the bottom of that because I think that ice shelf overhangs a little bit. Most of that should drain right into that little pan though, and run outside like I showed you before. Everything's empty. I had to prop up the door. Found a good door prop. Anyway, that's it. Now it's just a waiting game. And with the EcoFlow, we're pulling in between 40 and 35 watts, it looks like. And we're down to 44 degrees. So it dropped to 11.9 volts. Not sure about that. It should be a little more regulated than that, I would think. But anyway, we're going to see how long this lasts, how long it works, and what's going on. Alright, this thing reached temperature and leaves this pulling nothing until it has to cycle the compressor, and we've reached temperature at 130, and that's less than 30 minutes from when we started. I don't remember exactly what time we started, but it's pretty quick. Of course, I did put cold stuff in there from the refrigerator, so that helped. But there you are. And there we are. Also, now it's just a waiting game, basically, of letting this do its thing and thaw out. The only thing I've done is, well, I got my bucket sitting there, I got a little bit of the ice out, got some more rags on the ready just in case, and I have a fan blowing in there to kind of speed up the process. So now's a waiting game, and I'll add little bits and pieces in as we're going, but the biggest thing is, one, to see how to do this without making a big huge mess, which is, it's not that hard, not hard at all. Two, to see how this thing does running this. Here we are. It's been roughly an hour since we started, and things are going fine. Compressor really hadn't run much since it got the temperature. This thing is still kicking along. It actually overshot temperatures down to 28 degrees, it says. Again, I did put a lot of stuff that came out of the freezer, or not a lot, but some things came out of the freezer in there, so that helped to get the temperature pretty quick, and it's staying there. EcoFlow really hadn't been running. I'll roll in some pictures of the apps for both of these, but yeah, it's doing its thing. The only thing I've done different that y'all have seen, I showed you the fan going on, and I put my space heater behind the fan because this was going to take a while. We're in the mid 50s here today, and it's cloudy, so it's 50ish in the camper until I set this heater up. So things should speed up from here. Hopefully this thing defrosts, because that's a big block of ice, believe it or not. Hopefully this thing will defrost before the sun goes down. Anyway, we're clipping right along. No problem so far. One thing I want to see is if that kicks out from not having a load on it for a long time. That's one of the things I'm interested in. But yeah, we're still going. It's still moving right along here. It's been a little over an hour 20 minutes. a lot of slow progress. I showed you in the little bit before, I set a space heater up behind my fan that's blowing. We are melting, but not real quick. It's going to be the rest of the day suffer, I believe, because that's all still pretty solid ice, and it's good that deep back there. That deep. It's happening, but slowly. This kind of process, you just kind of take your rags, leave them up here, break the stuff out as it falls, take your bucket, put it there so you ain't making such a mess. And after a while, those rags will soak. The ice shelf will be falling. Same here. That's more solid. That's actually solid. I hope I didn't go too long. I'm being lazy. Hope I didn't go too long, and that spread those fins out and cause some damage. Oh, let's hope not. And I apologize. I left the radio on. That's how good I am at this. Been doing it a year now, off and on, not consistently, and it shows. Anyway, that's it for now, and we'll come back. You can see, well, I can see, I don't know if you can see, we are getting a good drip off the cooling fins down there now, and I'll give a shot at the outside of it pouring out. All right. About 3:30. We're still moving along here slowly. You can see the ice has melted a little bit, and we're getting some. These are getting wet, so these get wrung out into the 5-gallon bucket. Just like so. Just like that, and we are melting. You can start to see screws that you couldn't see before, and down here we're still melting right along. Ooh, there was something red in there. Ooh, no telling. Anyway, that's melting right along into the tray, so no problems there. Tray is doing its job, and we got at least another couple hours to go, so I'm not going to bore you with all that. We'll check back in later. And we're back outside the camper, and you can see that running out pretty good right there. That's what you want to see, because if not, it will be backing up to the camper. Ignore that wire right there. I got at night sometimes I sit and listen to the shortwave radio, and I have if you've seen my channel, you've seen the shortwave radio before. That wire goes out and goes all the way across the house and picks up a good deal. So that's what you're looking for. That's going to keep on, and part of the process. Still moving right along here. It's been about 2 hours, and we're still going. Compressor on the refrigerator really hadn't been kicking on and off. The DC's still on it. Everything we're holding at 31 degrees. It has risen. It's set at 33 degrees. Still getting 12.4 volts, as you can see. And you can see a little bit of action happening. You can see where I've been sticking my fingers in there to kind of give it some more surface area to start melting. And you can see down here that it is melting and running down the tray. So it's going to take a while. We're in the second hour. This is only as far as we've gotten. So that's the progress report for 2 hours. And yeah, that's it. We'll keep going. Alright, here we are again. It's been about an hour or so since the last I saw you on this camera. action's happening. You can tell these are getting wet. So about every 30 minutes or so now, I'm having to wring these out. Sorry, you got to look at the back of my ugly head there. Oops, shot some water across the floor. No big deal. But you can tell they're quite full of water. That's why you need a bucket up under you there so you're not slinging it everywhere. And like I said, this is about an every 30-minute process now until it's gone. And it's actually going pretty quick now. Maybe another hour and a half will be done. Yeah, that's going away. And down here you can tell we've reduced a lot. These are dry, so none of the water's actually angling back, dripping into the drip pan the way it's designed, believe it or not. And that's it. I'm not bore you with doing this every time, but that's happening about every 30 minutes. I'm wiping that out and wringing them out. You're still getting a little water on the floor and stuff, but just keep the bucket right there and wring it out into the bucket and you'll be fine. And that was bad. That should have been done 4 months ago, or this should have been done 4 months ago. So success so far. Success with the EcoFlow. Success with the Domende. I'm looking at it right now. It just turned to 34 degrees, so hopefully the compressor kicks on here shortly, and we'll see it draw from the EcoFlow. It's been a while since I've seen the EcoFlow put out anything, but the cooler's still cool. I've been in it like 3 times. I grabbed a stick of cheese out of there, ate half of a Quest bar that I had ate this morning. And anyway, long story short, it's working. Just it's pretty efficient. So we'll see you next time. We're going on our 3rd hour here, and the EcoFlow hadn't really been running. Still at 97%. And we're at 33 degrees and still getting 12.4 volts to the cooler. And we're getting some action up here because things are melting. Matter of fact, I need to wring them rags out. That's been wringing them out about every 30 minutes. That's about all y'all missed. Down here, we're still melting away, still dripping away, and those are dry. So we're waiting for that to go away and that to go away. I'm not rushing it really. Don't think I've done stuck my fingers, made some holes in there. And that's about it. We're gonna wring these rags out, and I'll see you next time I check in. We are still melting ice and wringing water. Like I said, this is about an every 30-minute process at this point, but we're getting there. It's around, it's about 10 till 5, actually 12 till 5, and that's just about all the ice out of the top of it. Like I said, this is long overdue. My fault for being lazy. And down here you can see we're making all kinds of gains, as the Hodge twins will say. I'm going to cut that out. Anyway, that's dry, and everything's running outside, out of that, from the bottom half, out of that tray. And the EcoFlow, we're still chugging along here. Just dropped 96%. We're at 35 degrees on the cooler, and it's still getting 12.4 volts. So I haven't seen, apparently the compressor did cut on because the EcoFlow did drop another %, and I was either in or out not to hear it or see it. And it's probably around 2 degrees. It'll probably kick on and off here in just a minute. But anyway, it's still running, and we're going to let the EcoFlow and the cooler run for a while. After this is thawed out and defrosted, I'm going to clean it up. I'll put the stuff back in here, and I'll put some water bottles or something in the cooler, and we'll see how long the EcoFlow will run the thing. But that's where we're at right now, and we'll be back to, I don't know if I'll show you any more of me just ringing water. That's boring. I'll come back on the hour checkup of the EcoFlow and cooler, and we'll go from there. Now I got this thing running again, or it's running again. I just wanted to get you down here with the microphone so you could hear the noise it puts out. That's its noise level right there. Not loud at all. Very bearable. I mean, you can't hear it 10 foot away from it, 5 foot away from it. But yeah, it's running, doing its thing. EcoFlow is still getting it. And refrigerator is back to on and cooling off. I hadn't set a thermometer back in there, but it is on. Well, there's the thermometer, and that one doesn't work. It's colder than that in there. I didn't think that worked. I got to get another one of those. Anyway, we're gonna let this thing do its thing, continue to run. I'm gonna pack this back in the refrigerator here when it cools off a little bit more. I just wanted you to hear the noise level of it. It's not loud at all. Very quiet. The EcoFlow is making no noise that I can hear. Maybe you can hear it with the microphone getting right up beside it. But there we are. Ooh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Will this come out? All right. That greatly sped up what we're doing, and that's going to bring this part to a closure here real quick. Get everything out of there and let it dry out, and then I'm gonna clean the refrigerator. You ain't gotta watch that. Basically just Clorox water or Clorox cleanup. Wipe it down real good, and it'll be good to go. And I try not to let it go as far this time. But yeah, that about concludes this process, other than the cleanup portion, and I'm not going to subject y'all to that. So yeah, that's it for this camera, I think. We're just past 4 hours here, and the refrigerator has started taking a draw. I've caught it in a draw. I don't know how long, or it's been doing it off and on, because the temperature did get up to 36 degrees, which I got it set on 33. But you can see it's drawing power from the EcoFlow, 25 to 30 amps. Oops. These always, every review I've ever watched anything, those always go off at the most inopportune time. But there it is, and there that is. It's maintaining 36, no problem. And it'll get back to 33. I got no idea that it won't. And then if we go over here and look, you can see no ice. That's just up there in the corner. That's just liquid. I got to wring those out. And if you look down here, no ice. So what's going to happen next is we're going to clean this up and out. You can see those are Pretty dingy. Oh, I'm moving a little too fast. Anyway, we're going to clean this out, clean it up. I'm not going to bother you with that. But what's going to happen is this is going to remain hooked up to this. I'm going to take the stuff out of there, put it back in the freezer, refrigerator where it belongs after this gets down to a reasonable temperature after I clean it up and shut it up. And then we're just going to see how long this will run. I'll put some bottled waters in there, like garage temperature bottled water, so it's in the 50 degrees area. And we might set it down a little lower than 33 to get it just where it's starting to freeze, to really test this and that, this and that. So we'll see. Again, I'll show you the refrigerator all cleaned up, and our video will be focused more on these two afterwards. Now you've seen how to clean out one of these. It's not that hard. If you're lazy like me and let it go way too long, it's a little harder. But anyway, done except for the cleaning. And it took a little 4 hours of waiting, basically. So we'll see you after I get everything set back up, just to do the EcoFlow and the cooler. Alright, here we are. Finished with the refrigerator. This was a little over 4 hours. 4 hours and some change. Don't know for sure. The refrigerator freezer did begin cycling. So you can see the EcoFlow is pulling power right now, or putting out power to the refrigerator freezer, and it just knocked off because it reached temperature again. It had got up to 36 and now it's down to 33, and it cut off. And we'll go back up to the EcoFlow. You can see it's putting out nothing, where it was putting out 40 watts roughly. Ooh, we just had a minor malfunction. But long story short, we're going to let this run. I'm going to take everything out after I get the refrigerator back up and running. You can see everything's gone, no ice, nice and clean. Again, no ice, nice and clean. And we're all wiped out and cleaned up with some Clorox cleanup. That's good stuff. So that refrigerator is sanitary and ready to go back in action. This is going to be the last for the evening. It's about, well, it's not about, it is 8:33. And we're running. The compressor just kicked back on. We're at 84%. We've been running since about 1, a little bit after 1, maybe 10 minutes after 1. I don't exactly remember. But as you can see, it's still running, putting out 20-ish watts. And you can see that we're still at a good temperature and getting 12.1 volts. And the compressor does kick on and off. So when it kicks off, where you says 13 hours there, to go back to 909 or 99 hours. So 8:30. I feel like it's gonna run all night. I've got some bottled waters in there. I put the other stuff back in the refrigerator. So we'll see how it does and how it is in the morning. We just achieved 33, so the EcoFlow cut off. And there's the 900 or 99 hours. I don't know why I won't say 999 so bad. But this is where we're going to leave it tonight. It's going to sit here and do its thing, just like that. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's 7:28 a.m. the next day, and we are still here. EcoFlow's at 70%. Fridge is at 34 degrees, still getting 12.4 volts. And we're still running. The only thing that's happened overnight, for whatever reason, I can't connect to the EcoFlow via Bluetooth anymore. It's just not recognizing it. I don't know if somehow it cut its Bluetooth off, or I'm going to get into the instruction manual here shortly. But it doesn't recognize, my phone doesn't recognize it this morning. So it's all still working, and we're at 70%. And we started at like 10 after 1 yesterday afternoon. And we're going to keep going. This might take a minute. Alright, we're at 11:18. And we're still rolling. EcoFlow's at 65%. Refrigerator is still running. 35 degrees, 12.3 volts. I did do one thing last night I didn't tell y'all about, and it might have been on the second video before I said I was done for tonight. If you look right there, you can see the little Eco logos on. That refrigerator does have an Eco mode. I put it in that right before the last video, I think. It might show up on a video or two before. But anyway, I cut that on. Didn't seem to affect the performance any. So far as the refrigerator, it kept maintained its temperature fine, and I think it's giving EcoFlow a break. I've not, when it comes on, it doesn't draw. I've seen it drop to 40 watts when it's not in Eco, 45. Looks like it stays 30 in the 30s or below when it's in Eco mode. But we're still going. We started at 10 after 1 yesterday. And we're at 65% now. And after lunch, I'll give you another update. Okay, this is a little past your 24-hour update. Just a little bit past. EcoFlow is still running. It says we got 60% left. It just finished the cycle of the compressor of this. You can see we're at temperature, getting 12.3 volts. And we're still running, and we, like I said, we're slightly past the 24-hour mark. Gonna let it keep going. So, like I said, this may take a minute. And this morning, I said the EcoFlow here, I couldn't connect with the Bluetooth. I did what we all do when things electronically and computer-wise don't connect. I rebooted my phone, rebooted the EcoFlow. Boom, we connected right back up. And I think I onset it because I tried to connect to it without having the Bluetooth on my phone connected. So that probably was my doing. But anyway, like I said, we're just slightly past 24 hours. And we're still running. Got 60% of the EcoFlow left. And there you can see the time, 1:34 p.m. I think we started at like 1:10 yesterday. So we're still going. And that's it for this. Back to the refrigerator, freezer. That's a way better than it was. Along with that being way better than it was. Nope, no ice sticking back on there. We're all clean, ready to go. So, I'll give you an update sometime this afternoon. Quick afternoon update. It's 5:39 p.m. And we got the EcoFlow setting at 53%. And the cooler is 31 degrees, getting 12.4 volts. So we're going on, let's see, going on 28 hours, 29 hours. I'll have to do the math. Anyway, that's where we're at. Still clipping right along. I got all ideas this is going to last till tomorrow unless the EcoFlow does something strange after it drops below 50%. So maybe we'll get 48 hours out of this. We shall see. Alright. It's a little after 8 here on Tuesday. So we've been running since 1 o'clock p.m. yesterday. And we're still running with the EcoFlow River 2 Max. It just dropped below 50% about 20 or 30 minutes ago. The refrigerator actually cycled for a little bit. But we're still running. Still at temperature. Still getting 12.3 volts. And like I said, it's at 48%. So I'm going to bed with it like this. I'm not going to look at it anymore tonight. Time's 8:10. We're going to check on it tomorrow morning. You can see I took a few waters out of there and drank them. But so it's been getting open and closed. It's been getting like semi-normal use, maybe not completely normal. But I drink a lot of water, so I've been in and out of there several times a day. But yeah, there we are. So tomorrow morning, we'll see where we're at. Good morning. We're on day 2, 7:30 in the morning. Running this EcoFlow Delta 2 Max and this Domende car fridge. As you can see, Delta 2 Max is at 37%. Putting out nothing right now because it just ran through a cycle. And you can see temperature is 31 degrees and we're getting 12.3 volts. This is going on day 2. After 1 o'clock today, shortly after 1 o'clock, it'll be day 2. Or 48 hours. So we've got 37%. I don't see why we're not going to make it from there unless the EcoFlow drops off a cliff. So that'll probably be the last thing I do, is last video after 48 hours. Not unless there's a good percentage of battery left, then we'll just let it go to see how long it'll go. But there we are. Here we are on Wednesday, just past 1 o'clock. So it's been officially just past 48 hours, barely, but 48 hours. And the EcoFlow is at 30%. The Domende is still holding temperature. Breeze 36 degrees right now. Still getting 12.3 volts. It's getting ready to cycle. So it'll kick on here in just a minute. Once it hits about 37 degrees, it kicks on. But yeah, that's 48 hours. We're still at 30%. Looking good. And I've called this thing a Delta Max a bunch of times. It's the EcoFlow River 2 Max. So earlier in the video, when you hear me saying Delta 2 Max, ignore that. Sometimes my brain don't function exactly right. But anyway, that's it. We're at the 48-hour mark, and it's still going. And this may be the last video, but we're only at 30%. So we'll take it down a little. We'll take it down further. I don't like killing them all the way. Just for battery purposes. But yeah, there we are. 1:12 on Wednesday. We started this on Monday around 1:10, something like that. Still getting it. Still got cold water in the fridge. Thermometer. Get it focused. Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. I'll update you later. Okay, it's 5:24 on Wednesday, and our EcoFlow cuts off now. Once it dropped below 25%, it cut off. I've checked the app. I've got it set to go off at 5%. I did set that to go off at 5%, so it didn't totally kill it, but it won't stay running now at 24. And you can see the refrigerator freezer is not running. I hit the power, and refrigerator kicked on and died. The whole EcoFlow died. So at 24%, I'm gonna go in the app and see if I can see if there's anything I missed, but it's shutting off at 24%. And it's 5:25 on Wednesday, so 1:30 was 48 hours, or 1:10. So 2:10, 3:10, 4:10, 5:10 we'll call it. We ain't being exact here. It's 48, 49, 50, 51, 52 hours. Excuse my camera being all over the place because I was using fingers to count. That's how smart I am. But 52 hours, EcoFlow quit. I'll update if I figure out if I got something set wrong where it's cutting off itself after 25%. We'll see. It will power back up, and I can see it on the app. But once you put the DC power on, and you'll hear the compressor, and there she goes. So that's it. That's going to conclude it, I believe, unless I find out I've done something wrong to where I'm not letting it run down any further than that in the app settings. So I'll check that out, and if that's it, that's it. And as y'all saw in the video, we cut out at 24%, and doing some research, I found out that the battery management system on the EcoFlow River 2 Max tends to be a little iffy. I did find a software revision for it, firmware revision, and I did update the firmware, and I went through a little procedure that I found on a forum, and I'm not sure it worked, to reset the battery management system. It involved, well, of course, getting a new firmware, then charging it up to 100%, and holding down the power button, or cutting it off after it's been charged, removing all the inputs and outputs from it, cutting it off, and then cutting it back on, long pressing the button about 15 seconds. And it did, I heard the screen flashed, and there was an audible click inside the unit, and then it said to let it sit for overnight, and that should rebalance the system out. We'll see, but that was the conclusion, and I will update y'all, let you know what I found out, if the firmware update helped and if that procedure helped, because I'll take it again. Like I said, it wouldn't let me run it all the way down to 0. It stopped at 24%, and I'm guessing that it was just that far off. So we're gonna see, but that is the conclusion for now. I will let you know what happened. I'd like to thank y'all for watching and being patient with me, and just thank you. And please click like and subscribe, and if you got any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. I appreciate y'all. Thanks.